Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by John Boy Media. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. And we have our last regular season preview pod of the year, Justin, and it's a little different than years past, where this podcast, since Talking Giants started, is like, okay, who's getting fired? Who's getting fired? Who is staying? Where 2019, me and Danny are talking about how Pat Shermer's going to be fired. We think Gettleman's going to be back, and why it makes no sense to do one without the other. 2020 was like Dave Gettleman, should he be fired, even though Joe Judge was likely. And then last year was like, is Joe Judge going to be fired? We didn't think it. And now we're talking about wrestling players. Justin, how are you?
Look at us. Look at how far we've come. Hey, Bobby Skinner, just get me to next Friday's show. Get me to next Friday's show where you're going to be up in the New Jersey, New York area. Not even New Jersey.
New York. I don't think I will be in New Jersey for the entire besides flying into the Newark airport.
No, but we will, you and I will be live together in person for our preview pod next Friday. Get me to that point, man. May even live stream it on YouTube. We'll talk about it. But still excited to see some Giants football this Sunday. Just hoping that we don't get blown out like the first time. But even if we do, there's obviously a conversation about resting starters. Do you play Tyrod Taylor? Do you play your bench guys, where the result of this game really doesn't matter in hindsight?
We also have the Toney Award, so this is not a throwaway pod. So we have the Toney Award coming up later, and then obviously segments with Danny King, last spread picks of the year. First, and I forgot to tell you this pre-show, Justin.
Sure.
Even though this is not the last preview pod of the year, it's the last regular season. I always set out on this podcast to say to our listeners a sincere thank you. Like, this season has been a lot of fun. It's not over. It's just beginning.
No, not over.
You know, every year it's cool to see, like, you know, the year winds down, how, you know, the community's growing. I mean, we're getting ready to do a watch party where we're, you know, probably gonna have over 100 people there. You know, where it's like, you know, 3 years ago that sounded insane. Like, 3 years ago we got 1,000 downloads. That was cool. Now it's, you know, we're at this point. So the listeners have been awesome. The live streams we've been doing this week have been fun too. So I just want to thank all of our listeners.
Yeah, and even for, you know, also I always give a shout out to, like, the people that show up at tailgates, people that, you know, show up to games, and people that showed up to the Candlewick Diner. And, like, when we do things in person, it always reminds me of the community that we have. But, you know, for all the people that maybe just don't interact with us every day, every once in a while on social media, you know, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you sticking it out with us, even when this team was bad. And, you know, now we get to celebrate that this team is good and they're headed to the playoffs. And, you know, there's going to be a Week 18 game that's basically irrelevant. We're going to rest some of our starters and, you know, gear up, rock and roll. And I think going to Minnesota, unless the NFL does some funky stuff. So, but we'll play that hand and we'll talk about it as the news comes. But right now, we're going to Minnesota and we're going to beat their ass.
Yep. But we still got to play these damn dirty Eagles. The Eagles. We're going to disgusting Philadelphia to play the disgusting Eagles. But you know who's not disgusting, Justin? Nick Lodato. Not Filato, but Nicholas Lodato. Dan Holton. One of my best friends' name was Holton. This Patreon has this next guy has a special place in my heart. His name is Joe Riley. But Bobby, why does that?
Yeah.
Me and my brother prank called O'Reilly Auto Parts all the time, asking for Joe Riley. O'Reilly's. We would say, where's Joe Riley? And this is really not that funny when I explain it out loud. But Joe Riley, just know you have a place in my heart. Next, we got David Calderon, Jose Calderon's brother, Al Blosies. He's blazing, and then just Ron, regular old Ron. Justin, who are these people?
Ron, plus some other great friends. When the patreon.com/Talking Giants. There's some tiers. You know about them. Hang out with us while we record the shows on Sundays for post-game. Bobby Skinner sends you some stickers, magnets in the mail. And there's some shirt raffles. And we just dropped some new shirts on the store as well. Some playoff shirts, Kayvon Thibodeau shirt, and an updated Daniel Jones Danny Dime shirt, which looks pretty sick too. Patreon.com/Talking Giants. Thanks for our patrons. We love ya.
All right, Justin, the Eagles, though. Let's talk Giants specifically, though. Starters or not. We talked about it on the Mailbag podcast. My mind has totally changed for the most part. And you could hear it in my voice. Like I was kind of like, the logical thing is to rest guys. We talked with Sean Morash of WFAN, the DA show, the other day on the live stream, and I want to give him credit because he made some good, compelling points. Everyone brings up 2007, Justin. Well, in 2007, Sean O'Hara and Sam Madison got hurt. We had to play out those guys to start the playoffs. We don't have depth on this team. And again,
that
you can
2007 team had depth, right?
Yeah, we don't have the depth. Like we can't afford to lose guys. And then you look at, okay, where's another example? We beat Washington in 2016, beat Kirk Cousins, took him out of the playoffs. Haha, screw you. Well, we came out pretty damn bad. And then the other one is the bye week rust, because that's something I talk about in season, the bye week. But this is not a bye week, okay? Players are still practicing. They are not going on vacation. Where a bye week in general, it's not more time to prepare. It's the same amount of time to prepare for players. It's just you literally go, you don't have practice and players go on vacation. Just think about that in your own personal life. When you come on vacation, how it's weird getting back into the swing of things when you come back to work. So, and it's the playoffs. Guys are going to be more locked in than they ever will. Like, there's no need for that. And what is one thing and I'm hitting all the arguments, we've criticized, the main thing we criticized Brian Daboll for? Playing Adoree Jackson, right? It's taking an unnecessary risk. Like, the reward does not meet the risk. Is beating the Eagles, does that reward meet the risk of possibly losing a guy? And we're already saying to rest certain guys, like Azeez Ojulari, Leonard Williams, maybe even Saquon Barkley. So it's kind of either like you're all in or you're all out on this, Justin. So if we're going to play guys who are able to, or not play guys who are able to play, then, we should just, for the most part, rest your key players. You can't rest everybody because then you can't have a roster.
Yeah.
But your key players like Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Dexter Lawrence.
So then here's where you have to start. Here's where my brain goes to first. The offensive line. Because the offensive line is the unit that protects Daniel Jones. Andrew Thomas would be nice to sit him. But I think Evan Neal...
He might be the only one you do sit is Andrew Thomas.
But Evan Neal is going through some injuries. He had that MCL knee injury. That's why he missed a few weeks. And then he has this shoulder thing that he's like playing through. So I don't think you can sit both of them.
That's...
So if you play Andrew Thomas, then...
But Evan Neal, it's not like Evan Neal's killing it out there either. And you do have Matt Parrott and Tyree Phillips.
But Tyree Phillips
that's better than just the Giants' tackle system at some points last season.
Isn't Tyree Phillips your second backup for guard?
I think all the interior guys should play. I don't think you play the whole backup O-line.
And then
I think you... Here's my thing. If Evan Neal... If the injury is not actually like really bothering him, like it maybe was a few weeks ago, Evan Neal would not be my just sit him to sit him. If he's dealing with an injury and you think it's going to help, then sit him. But if it's not, I think Evan Neal should play. Andrew Thomas would be the only offensive lineman I sit.
Okay, so you would sit Andrew Thomas
because you can't operate without him. Because you can operate without Evan Neal with Tyree Phillips.
I think John Feliciano sits too because he's been limited in practice. They slapped the designation of a back on him. I think he sits. So then you have Ben Bredesen at left guard, Nick Gates at center, Mark Lewinsky at right guard, Neal at right tackle. Then probably it would be Tyree Phillips at left tackle. So, all right. So then if Andrew Thomas sits and he does not play, then Tyrod Taylor should and will start the game without a doubt.
Oh yeah, Daniel Jones is like you don't sit guys and not sit your starting quarterback.
No. If they sit Evan Neal and they play Andrew Thomas, then my brain still goes to what I said on Wednesday's mailbag pod of give it as a challenge to your starters who are playing, right?
But here's the thing is the reports are coming out that they are going to sit some guys.
Okay, so then Daniel Jones doesn't play.
Yeah, Daniel Jones. And maybe they play like 2 drives type of thing, that happens a lot of times. Like I remember even when the Colts were like undefeated and people were getting mad.
But again, they're saying starters. But again, the beat reporters, they're saying the starters sit. Okay, we know that starters are going to sit. Who is going to sit? Now I don't blame them for not knowing.
But Daniel Jones is going to be one of them.
Okay.
It's I think it's essentially your star players. Like Dexter Lawrence probably will sit. Leonard Williams obviously will sit. A guy who I think people would assume would sit that I don't think should though is Kayvon Thibodeau.
No, he can't. He can't.
Why not?
Jihad Ward, Timon Fox, and O'Shane Zimenez, like those are three. Those are only your three edge rushers that are left.
Call up Quincy. You only get 2 call ups, so it's like, who do you call up? But
they're not going to sit Kayvon.
I wouldn't either. I know he seems like a star right now. He's not a star player yet. He's ascending, but he is not a star player yet.
Right.
I would play Kayvon Thibodeau. Would you play Adoree? I think Adoree Jackson's got to play for a little bit. Maybe not go out here and play from quarter 1 to 4, but he's got to get reps before he goes out there versus Justin Jefferson in the playoffs.
Yes, I agree. You got to play Adoree. You got to play McKinney. And again, just treat it like the third preseason game in a 4 preseason season schedule. That's how I would treat it.
McKinney, I because McKinney's not like a soft tissue injury or anything, I wouldn't mind sitting McKinney, because it's not like he's gotten out of shape by not being able to play the last month and a half. Like it's simply the hand. Like he's able to stay in. Nothing simulates being a full go in practice and playing games, but he's been able to stay in shape. But here's the only argument against this is the Tom Coughlin 07 speech. I get that. Like, part of me wants it, but to me, the logical reasons to not play guys beat out the reasons to play. Like, the only reason to say that, for me, the only thing that's pushing me into the play the guys is like, hey, this team's probably not going to the Super Bowl. Let's get another game of evaluation versus the Eagles. Like, let's just play. Like, let's play. But momentum, I don't know if it just fits in the situation right now.
That team just had way more depth than this team. I don't think you can't take those chances with this team compared to that 07 team.
Yeah, and I wasn't I didn't know what guy was on the limited and stuff like then back in 2007. But it's like, you're already going to be probably sitting some key guys anyways.
Plax was hurt every week, and he was a weird little play away from maybe being out for the season. And he was full tilt. They played him, but still that the depth on this team is not what that was. I think they're very different situations. And also the Patriots were on the cusp of history. The Philadelphia Eagles are on the cusp of getting the first seed and a division title. It's very, very different there.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to remember if the Giants made that bold stake to play their starters against a team that could have won the NFC East. That's not a memorable thing.
The pushback, too, is but the Eagles are much more beatable now for the Giants than they were a month ago. Beating Eagles would, confidence is a part of football, and, that's one reason I want Evan Neal to play. This team tore your ass up. Let's go out and play. You need to play against them again. That happened with Thomas versus the Eagles in 2020. So if he's close to healthy, I'm playing Evan Neal. So this isn't every single big name. I don't think Kayvon should sit. But
I'm getting sick and tired of. I've had this internal debate for basically the entire week now. I'm kind of tired of having the conversation of who should sit, who should play. So can we talk about who are some players that we're watching out for?
Yeah. I agree with you. The topic is kind of boring at this point. We spent 14 minutes on it, or 10. The player I am most watching for is Jarrad Davis because he has talent. He really does, and he's never put it fully together. But he has talent, and the Giants' linebacker room is very weak. Where if Jarrad Davis goes out there and plays better than what other guys have played at that spot, whether it's Michael McFadden or Jalen Smith, he could be put in the starting lineup for the playoffs. He is the one guy who can go out there and win his playing time this week. I need to see Jarrad Davis, but you have to go out there and play him in this defense. You can't just throw him out there in the playoffs. So Jarrad Davis is somebody who I've got my eyes peeled on. When the defense is on the field, my eyes are going to Jarrad Davis every single snap.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Preventing Dalvin Cook from having a 20-plus yard run against a Minnesota rushing offense that has not been good this year. If you could take that 20-plus yard rushing game off the board, I think it just changes the game entirely, and it totally makes Minnesota's offense very, very one-dimensional. So I totally agree with you. I'll be watching Jarrad Davis. Something that Wink Martindale said during one of their this week's pressers, and Research Rick, as always, kind of clips this up. he talked about the development of other players, specifically in the safety room, that they've been able to kind of form up here while Xavier McKinney has been down. So something that I'm very interested to see this week, and we saw it last week against the Colts a little bit, how Toney Jefferson is in for some plays. Landon Collins is in for some plays. Jason Pinnock is a guy that they were able to really kind of form up as the weeks have gone on. He was the main starter when Xavier McKinney was out, and he was that deep center field safety. So they have some players who can do some fun things. I think Toney Jefferson's a guy that we liked, in August after they picked him up from the Ravens. Same thing with Jason Pinnock. Both very, very different kind of players that can do different things. And if we've talked about and we've seen how Landon Collins can be a playmaker. So how they utilize those three guys, if they even want to utilize Jason Pinnock, how they utilize those guys against the Eagles, it'll be interesting to see, because I think given the opportunity, any of those three guys can be little bit of a difference maker in the playoffs. They have depth in the safety room, which is nice.
Yeah, that's like the one position where it's like you can just bench both starters if you wanted and let them go out there and play. The other guy on my list was Landon Collins. I just want to see him more and more at linebacker. Like maybe some more responsibility at linebacker, and you see what you got there. Did you have anybody?
I have somebody from my Giant factor on the offensive side of the ball.
Is he a receiver?
No comment.
Oh, okay.
It'll be the last time that we'll ever say his name until the day that he's cut. So I'm saving it.
Well, this is going to be a big surprise.
Yeah.
Here's the part of me where I hate everything I said 5 minutes ago, is that this team is a lot more beatable. Lane Johnson is not playing, and Jordan Mailata, Kayvon Thibodeau had a lot of success for him. So if you had our front four going up against this offensive line, it's a hell of a lot better. And Dex played well against those guys anyways. Dex plays well against everybody. And Jalen Hurts is not going to be running the ball with that shoulder injury. He's not going to be running the ball up the gut. It makes their running game significantly different. It just makes their running game nowhere near as effective. Still can be very effective, but nowhere near. There's just so many things less you have to account for. This all, and then if you had Adoree Jackson back on, have him cover Devontae Smith, and then, you kind of bracket over the top on AJ Brown.
Yeah.
And then you have McKinney who can get side. This is a much more beatable Eagles team for the New York Giants. And again, there is a part, I'm letting logic take over and saying the starters, the key guys need to rest. But the football fan in me was like, man, we could beat this freaking Eagles team this go around.
The first half of that game, they didn't need to throw it a ton because they were winning very early in the game. But still, even the first half of that game, they were throwing it a ton. And they were not overall very efficient through the air. They obviously
were getting the third downs and converting.
Yeah,
basically.
They had that big touchdown, where Julian Love let that ball go right through his hands to Devontae Smith. And something that was interesting too about Jalen Hurts' spray chart on Next Gen, his throwing spray chart. There was only one pass that was attempted and completed inside the hash marks. Everything else was outside the numbers towards the sideline. And I even saw, Gardner Minshew did a little bit of that even last week against the Saints too. We're throwing screens. Devontae Smith, pretty good yards after the catch. And A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers in the league at yards after the catch. So to keep Jalen Hurts a little healthy, to keep him from taking some big hits, if Wink Martindale wants to dial up some pressure, I think there's going to be a lot of wide receiver screens this week, and it's going to have to be the Giants secondary's job to get out there, make the tackle, make the play, and prevent some big plays out there.
And last note before we get into the Toney Award and bring Danny King on, Boston Scott, 7 games versus the Giants, 83 yards per game, 9 touchdowns, a touchdown in every game versus the Giants, 52 games versus other teams, 21 yards per game, 7 touchdowns. He literally can't, it's going to happen at some point in this game, the Boston Scott touchdown.
It's going to happen. If it
doesn't happen, that's worth celebrating. If we lose by 45, but after the game Boston Scott didn't score, I'm going to be doing Boston Scott sucks, posts. All right, Justin, do you got anything else before we go to the Toney Awards?
No, I just have one more thing about Jalen Hurts. And I if I'm putting my Eagle fan brain on here for a hot second, I'm looking at some of the sacks that Kayvon Thibodeau's had over the last few weeks. There's been some big hits. This goes back to the first Washington game at home where there was an untouched sack. You know, how did Taylor Heineke not fumble the ball? That sack. The second Washington game on Sunday Night Football, big hit. And then, of course, this past Sunday, another untouched sack that Kayvon Thibodeau had, blindside hit on Nick Foles. If I am the Eagles, I am circling number 5, and I'm saying he's probably going to come from that left side of the offensive line, right side of the defense. Wink Martindale is going to try and continue to get some untouched pressures, untouched hits, untouched sacks on him, on the opposing offense. They got to shut that shit down. They got to shut that shit down so they can keep their quarterback healthy.
Yep. All right, let's bring Danny King on. All right. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. Happy birthday, Danny King. Happy birthday, Danny King. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. You're 21 finally. Now you guys can listen to a 21-year-old talk and not someone who is still very young. But it's excited times, Toney Award times. I think that's the best birthday gift one could get. I get to hear the Toney Award winner.
Yeah, I know for your birthday you usually like travel somewhere every year, January.
Yeah.
Like last year last year I think you went to California. The year before, I remember you did something in Washington D.C. on January 6th.
I was just hanging around, and then like something weird happened where like the whole city shut
hanging
down.
Around. That's what they all call it.
I just wanted to say hello to some people, but I guess
you found yourself in an office.
I did. I don't know how it happened.
In Washington D.C.
I just wanted a quick tour, and then apparently I wasn't allowed to be there. That was a
boom.
That was a jail.
So happy birthday, Danny King. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm excited. Obviously, this is all looking forward towards next week, but it's still a really interesting game this week. I'm really excited to see how it goes because do you want to beat the Eagles just to stick it to them? I'm very excited to see how this game gets played out.
Finale. This is an important segment. Finale of spread picks. Fantasy draft isn't over yet, but we got the Toney Award, everything.
But yes, first, Danny King saw his first Giants victory
at
home
true.
Since 2018.
That is true.
That is true.
For the first time since December 2018 against the Chicago Bears in overtime, I finally was at MetLife Stadium for a win. I haven't heard the New York song by Jay-Z in forever. I was honestly emotional. I didn't leave the stadium for about a half hour. I was just standing there watching it all, taking it as like, I am a winner again.
Could have come to the Candlewick Diner.
I could have, but who doesn't love standing in New Jersey Transit's train line for over half an hour.
But congratulations to you. That's not your birthday gift. A playoff victory will be a late birthday gift.
That's what I want. There
you go.
All right, let's get to it though. The Toney Award. This is an award that we made up last year to make fun of the beat reporters for the Good Guy Award. So you're like, what is this award? You just listen. It's the not sure if you're a good person, but Best Giants Reporter presented by Kadarius Toney Award presented by Talkin' Giants, or otherwise known as the Toney. Last year, Dan Duggan won it. Like, okay, well, who took second? That guy's going to win, right? Zach Rosenblatt took second. He's not on the New York Giants beat. So we have a whole new, like, it was anyone's game. There was people really going for it. So 16 people got votes this year. I'm not going to list you everything, but I will say 16th was Giant Insider. But hey, tough. getting a vote is a accomplishment. We are not here to put anyone down. So I will say congrats to Giant Insider for being 16th of 16. Are you guys ready for this?
I cannot be more ready.
So ready. There was some controversy. Scandals?
In third place, friend of the show. Gave myself some legitimacy. The first person I did some writing for in 2019 was for this person. From Sports Illustrated, our good friend Patricia Traina, Patty Traina.
Woo!
Congratulations, Patricia, on third place in the Toney Award. We love you, and you are a friend of the show.
Making progress.
Now, first place had 189 points. Second place had 171 points. You know, we do a point system of 3 points for first place, 2 for second, and then 1 for first. Now, first place did get 40 first place votes, and second place got 30. So even if we changed the voting system, we would have had the same results this year. So listen, six ballots could have changed the course of this. 6 people could have taken someone off their ballot if they did something that, you know, to either take them off their ballot or put them at their ballot on the top of their ballot. So in second place from ESPN, Jordan Renan. Congratulations.
Wow. There you go,
You
Jordan.
are second best, Jordan Renan. Congratulations. And in first place, it's not too much drama because you guys all know who I'm going to say. From The Record of North Jersey and USA Today, our good friend Art Stapleton is the 2022 Toney Award winner.
Wow.
Woo!
Wow.
We're not sure if you're a good person, Art Stapleton, but you are the best Giants beat reporter, presented by Kadarius Toney, presented by Talking Giants.
Congratulations.
What a massive moment for Art Stapleton. Easily, I think, the biggest accolade of his career.
So what does he get?
So people are asking, what do you win if you win the Not Sure If You're a Good Person but Best Giants Reporter, presented by Kadarius Toney Award, presented by Talking Giants? What do you win? Well, one, you win a Media Some Clown shirt. So a Medium Some Clown shirt is on the way. You get a $20 gift card from Dunkin' Donuts. How about that? Free ad for those guys. And you get a trophy. I have a trophy. So Art Stapleton, we're looking forward to seeing the trophy. You know what? I hate to to ask, but you know what? Art Stapleton does have a podcast. Maybe he should bring us on and we'll talk about his Toney Award and then we can talk a little Giants football. Are you I would enjoy doing that. But we will talk with Art soon, regardless, about his Toney Award. So congratulations to Art Stapleton. So we made I decide we're keeping this for the rest of the time. This is just becoming a real.
I thought we were getting rid of it.
This is just going to become a real award. So technically, Dan Duggan is not eligible next year. We just like the Good Guy Award that the beat reporters do. You can't be eligible until the third year. So technically, Dan Duggan and Art Stapleton aren't eligible. But I'm thinking about possibly changing the voting system to where it's a merits based, not what people voting. Where it's if you break the news of someone being fired, it's 10 points. You break a free agency signing, it's 8 points. You break the news that Danny King broke, that Nick Gates and Ben Bredesen beat a rotation, like game day. That's 1 point. Type stuff.
Wait. But that actually provides more legitimacy to the award. The Media Good Guy Award, you don't get bonus points for giving a little bit of a nugget to the beat here. No. I just think that it should be the same thing every single year.
Okay, well, we'll discuss it. We have 365 days to discuss this.
We have a board of people that we all talk about this.
A lot of votes this year. A lot more votes this year than last year. And I want to look dead into the camera. And I want to look at you, Jordan Renan. 2 weeks ago, Danny King broke the news that Nick Gates and Ben Bredesen would be rotating at left guard. 2 weeks ago. And I know for a fact, because you did not credit Danny King when you broke that news, that people didn't vote for you. So you could have won. Listen, Jordan Renan, we are still your friend. We're going to have you in the van again this year, and we'll talk about it. But I want you to look me dead in the eye. There's a good chance you win. I'm not saying you guarantee you win it, but this would have been a 1-2 point game if you credited Danny King. We might even put Danny King on the ballot next year if we don't credit Danny King at some point. And I know Danny King will win this award next year. I will turn Danny King into a beat reporter to spite the beat reporters. I will. So, just wanted that to be said. But congratulations to Art Stapleton.
Great job,
congratulations to, Jordan Renan for second, Patricia Traina for third.
Giants Insider for 16th.
Should I just run through the order of everything went real quick?
I guess people are very invested in this, and this only is talked about one day a year. So yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Art Stapleton, Jordan Renan, Patricia Traina. So those are the top three. Fourth, Charlotte Carroll. I think the Dan Duggan
influence.
endorsement help with that.
Yeah.
Tom Rock, Kim Jones, Pat Leonard. I think Pat Leonard actually deserves more respect because it's not sure if you're a good person. Like, we don't care that he's not a good person. Paul Schwartz, Ryan Dunleavy, both tied. Connor Hughes, Bob Brookover, Ed Valentine, Neil Best. He's not even really a beat reporter. But
I had no idea who he was.
Paul Dottino, Daryl Slater, and then Giant Insider. So, congrats to every one of you, including if you finish 16th.
I'm going to push for Tom Rock next year.
We'll see.
Is it Tom Rock not on our B day? That's a whole different. I thought he left our.
He
He's
is
still technically like it's not even beat reporter. It's just reporter. So you can be like a columnist. Basically, if you fall under media, some clowns, you are part of it.
Okay.
And people are like, what are you going to name it? No, it's going to be named about Kadarius Toney. Like, people are when we're doing Talking Giants to our 50s, and there's kids, they're like, who's Kadarius Toney? And it's like, oh, guy flash in the pan. All right. Now that that's over, Danny, what's the weather looking like for Philadelphia?
It's actually going to be nice weather. Like, it was nice weather for the Giants game last Sunday. It's going to be nice weather again in Philadelphia. It's going to be 45 degrees, very little wind, so that's great. It's going to be cloudy, though, like partly cloudy. There may be some sun, but it's probably going to be partly cloudy for a good chunk of the game. And obviously, with it now being at 425, it'll be just a cloudy night at that stadium known as the Link, which has not been very kind to us.
I hate Philadelphia.
I do too.
Danny, do we have trivia this week?
We do. I thought this was the week I was going to bring out a playoff one, but I was like, no, this is still an important game that people will care about. So, which two Giants have 12 solo tackles in a game against the Eagles? So there are two players, 12 solo tackles. We're not going combined here. Solo tackles in a single game.
Versus the Eagles?
Versus the Eagles.
When did they start counting solo tackles?
I'm going to say Blake Martinez.
Justin, I will say you don't have to go back to the 50s. I will say that.
All right, so the 80s are in contention here, I guess. I'm going to say... I'll just say Harry Carson's one. Give me Jonathan Goff.
Bobby, do you have another player you want to go with?
Antonio Pierce.
Bobby, you got one player right. It is Antonio Pierce. He did have 12 tackles. That was, what did my chart say? Week 14, 2008. The other was, I was genuinely shocked about this one. I couldn't believe it was actually real. It was former Giants safety Michael Thomas back in week 17 of the 2019 season. Michael Thomas had 12 solo tackles. Like, I was like, wait, safety
You know
Michael
why
Thomas?
I didn't remember that? I usually always remember trivia of games that we've covered in Talking Giants. The last game of the year is annually the one game we don't have to analyze because we don't record a podcast recapping the game because, like, season's over. We're on to who's staying, who's being fired.
Who's fired. So I found that to be quite fascinating. I was even at that game, so that's what really confused me, that I don't remember that game. But either way, Michael Thomas is in the Giants history book, and I like Michael Thomas as a safety.
Yeah, we like Michael Thomas. Good
and I got
special team player. Made a great game. Made a great third down stop in Daniel Jones' debut versus the Bucs.
Yeah, Michael Thomas. I do miss him at times. And I got one
Pro Bowler for the New York Giants. Michael Thomas.
That was even more crazy.
So I know all this Michael Thomas trivia except for the Michael Thomas trivia you asked us.
And then I got one last question. What was the last time the Giants won in Philadelphia?
2014.
I think 2012.
You both were 1 year off. It was right in the middle of 2013.
2013.
Okay.
2013. I was intrigued by that because, that's a house of horrors.
Yeah. All right. Fantasy draft. Second to last of the year. I have set the record for points so far. Danny will be picking him first. You had the best week last week with 42.9 points. You're 76 points back. So, Danny, you're kind of out of this, but it would be respectable to try and make it a little closer. I'll be picking second after a 31-point outing. I am still in first place with 614 points. And then Justin's in second. Justin's in second place. And after his, I'm going to be cute and pick Johnny Woods. Well, he's 25 points back. He's not out of it. Now, this competition is far from over. We know damn well you can get 25 points up in almost one game. Sometimes one game, especially in a weirdo game like this. But he is 25 points back after a 19-point outing. Any words, Justin? about your Jelani Woods pick. You like got Bill Belichick, where it's like, oh, I'm so much smarter than everyone. Where it's like, no, that was actually just a bad decision, Bill.
Listen, you go 1 for 3.
This is your Matt Patricia Joe Judge co-offensive coordinator, right? Move.
You go 1 for 3, and you're still a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, I think that was Jelani Woods' stats: 1 catch for 3 yards.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Danny, you have the first pick. This is a very weird week because we don't know who's going to be playing fully, who's not. Danny, who is your first pick?
I just noticed one side of my head just looks horrible right now, but it always looks like that. I'm going A.J. Brown. I don't know what Saquon's going to be doing this week, how much he'll play, if he even plays at all. I'm still trying to be respectable in this competition, and I believe A.J. Brown is the best option to go with here because A.J. Brown still has been producing even with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback. Last week, he literally had 19 points. Week before that, 16 points. And when he played the Giants, he had 17 points. So, I mean, A.J. Brown just gets points. And I don't see why that would not continue this week because I'm still convinced there will be some. Well, obviously, we all know there'll be rested of people. It's just how much we'll keep players like Adoree, Xavier, like that play.
So this is kind of like a flow of the game type thing. I think Hurts is going to be a little safer this week. You know what? I'm going to go Miles Sanders.
Good pick.
You know, you don't know what Hurts is going to look like. Adoree could be back. I'm going to go Miles Sanders. I'm just going to go safe and pick running back. Justin, who do you got? Back-to-back picks here.
All right, you went Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown. So I'm gonna go Richie James. If Tyrod Taylor plays, then that was a connection that was very, very strong in camp. The Richie
Preseason
James
touchdown too.
That's
the
a
Richie
great
James
point.
to Tyrod Taylor connection was very, very strong. And I'm
point.
going to go Devontae Smith as well in the come around. I think Devontae Smith has had, I think statistically, I don't know what the last few weeks has been like for him, but he's made some jaw-dropping plays, and it really looks like he's kind of coming into his own. So give me Devontae Smith.
I like it. I'm going to go a guy, again, like you said, Jalen Hurts might be a little safer with the ball. So what is a guy who's being a little safer with the ball going to do? He's going to check down. And I'm going to take a guy that I love to punch in the face in South Dakota. People forget I punched this guy in South Dakota, knocked him out, sucker punched his ass, to be honest. Totally dirty. But I'm going Dallas Goedert with my second pick. 4 for 5 on Eagles picks.
It's so unfortunate.
You guys don't believe. Danny, who do you got? You got back-to-back picks.
Richie James.
That's true. Me and Danny.
I mean, the next logical place to go here is, man, oh man.
You can't think logic with this next pick, man. There should be a. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, like I'm going receiver here. I am.
Yeah.
It's just more of a question of am I feeling Quez Watkins
You do have
or
back-to-back picks, you know.
I do. Why am I dreading on
All right,
this
so then just take both of the players
so
you're debating.
so that I will take Isaiah Hodgins. I will
There
take
you
him.
go.
I completely forgot I do have back-to-back picks here. That is how this works. And you know
There
what?
you go, Danny.
You know what? I'm going to do it.
Damn it. No, don't do it.
I'm
Come
doing
on.
it. I'm doing it. I want this man on my team. I'm taking Boston
Damn it.
Boston Scott.
I had Boston Scott. I was like, I'm going to get Boston Scott this
I'll
time.
let him slip through the cracks. I was wondering where Boston Scott would go, and I realized this is perfect time because I got nothing to lose by taking Boston Scott, whether he scores a touchdown or not. I'm confident with the two guys I have. Let's have fun with it. Give me Boston Scott. I would have taken Dallas Goedert.
Justin should be thanking you right now because I was getting ready to take Boston Scott and I would have won the championship off of Boston Scott. It would have been a little role reversal. All right, so I'm just going to take the next giant.
This is a tough one.
I don't think it's difficult.
Screw it. I'm going to go Matt Breida. I don't know what type of, like, Slayton is very capable of the two catch. I mean, did it last week, 2 catches, 18 yards. I'm going to go Matt Breida.
That was someone I was genuinely considering as well.
Like, this is off my big board. I had Slayton ahead of my big board, but I'm going to go Matt Breida. So, Justin, you have your last 2 picks.
Are we still in the third round? What's our rule on trading away players?
This next pick you can trade away.
All right, I'm going to draft Saquon Barkley because I think if I could trade
I
away
think
the
you're
player,
wasting a pick here, to be honest.
but if I could trade away the player, then I'll just pick somebody else up who's gonna, But then I'll get the handcuff right here. I'm gonna take Gary Brightwell.
Wow.
I don't hate that pick as much as I thought I would have.
Because I'm getting the handcuff here. If I draft Saquon, he's inactive. I trade away Saquon Barkley. I have Gary Brightwell, and then whoever is not taken in this final round, I will acquire them. And
what if Matt Breida gets like all the carries over Brightwell?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think if they're going to give, like, let's say the Giants get their way down to the goal line, I think it'll be Gary Brightwell in the game.
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't think Saquon's going to play.
If he does, I have him.
But you could have got. You could have got the guy that I'm taking right now, Darius Slayton.
Okay, then I will. All right, then enjoy your 3-catch, 45-yard game.
That's I got solid 7.5 points for my last pick. In a week where we don't.
I'll have a guy who, if he plays, he will do well.
But he's not going to play. Danny, you have the last pick.
I don't remember hearing his name. Was Quez Watkins taken?
No, you got him.
He wasn't. Okay, but there's a part of me that did want to take someone else, but I'm not going to.
You could see them wrestling Daniel Bellinger, or you could see him playing 100% of the snaps.
Oh,
like,
it was
a tough one.
It was a Daniel Bellinger I was questioning.
Who was it going to be?
I was really questioning taking Kenny Galladay because this will be his last fantasy draft, but I'm going to stick with Quez Watkins.
You could take him. Okay.
This is not Kenny Galladay's last fantasy draft.
Oh, well, I mean, the last one we would generally consider him taking it.
Oh, okay. Hey, you never know, man.
We gotta figure out when was the last Kenny Galladay. When was the last time he was picked? It was probably the Eagles game because remember it was like, oh, he's gonna play versus the Eagles.
It might have been, yeah.
I'll find it right now.
And he just needs 76 catches, and then he'll get a nice little incentive bonus. So just throw him the ball constantly.
Yeah, that was a pretty funny tweet I saw. They did. All right, so the recap. Danny has A.J. Brown, Isaiah Hodgins, Boston Scott, and Quez Watkins. I have Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, Matt Breida, and Darius Slayton. Justin has Richie James, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, and Gary Brightwell.
So take, for example, was Daniel Bellinger drafted?
No.
No.
Smacked my mic.
If Saquon Barkley sits, I'm picking up Daniel Bellinger, and I feel great about that. That was my plan.
Quality.
Okay. The last time that Galladay was picked was the Texans game. So we didn't even take him for that Eagles game.
Oh, wow.
That is
Who
surprising.
picked him for the Texans game? Wasn't me.
You did, Danny.
I knew it.
Who picked him?
In fact, and then the last time he was picked before then was week 4. You know who picked him?
Was it
Danny. And then I picked him week 3 versus the Cowboys.
And then I picked him week 1, I think. I think I picked him and Toney week 1.
No, I picked him second. I took him second pick week 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
You did have Toney with your first pick week 1 though.
Oh, tough.
Yeah,
Didn't
Toney,
take
Robert
Saquon.
Woods, Daniel Bellinger, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
Didn't take Saquon. All right. Giant factors.
All right, giant factors. Danny, who is your giant factor for week 18?
So I'm breaking the rules. I'm going 2, but you'll understand why. First one,
Whoa.
it will be Tyrod Taylor. I'm taking here. I'm taking Tyrod Taylor as my giant factor because he's
It's the
going to
first
play.
time we mentioned the guy who's probably going to start a quarterback in a previous pod.
Possibly, because Tyrod Taylor is going to play. If they don't sit Daniel Jones, then I respect them just not caring. Tyrod Taylor, go out there and just ball. Just be you. You're a quality quarterback. You could be started on probably a team in the NFL.
You can start
they
on the
were
Texans.
looking for you easily. They could easily start on the Texans, but they're like, hey, let's go Davis Mills. So Tyrod Taylor, go out there, ball, make a little name for yourself. Have a fun game. Play out there, have fun, because I think you can have some fun with this Eagles team. And then the other player, I don't know why I'm feeling it. I'm just taking Jahad Ward for jokes. I feel like Jahad Ward's got to have some contract incentive in there, so I believe he'll get that. He also has that sack since the tie against Washington, and so Jahad Ward, go out there and get a sack. You've gone long stretches without a sack, so I want to see a Jahad Ward sack because I love his celebration he does. Because I just find Jahad Ward to be a cool player. And maybe if we win, maybe we got a new Jahad Ward song. Maybe, but I might be pushing it.
My giant factor. I had someone written down that I might change it last second. But I'm gonna say, screw it. I'm gonna say Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson. Like, we haven't seen you since that Texans game. Since the last time Kenny Galladay was picked in a fantasy draft. That was the last time that you were playing for the New York Giants. Actually, no, he played in the Lions. I'm tripping right now. But nonetheless, Adoree Jackson, we need you for the playoffs. You are essentially you are close to the most important player on our defense. You know, like I think the pass rush as just a whole is the most important, but one individual player, I really think it's you, Adoree Jackson. So go out there, knock the rust off, and get ready to face Justin Jefferson in a huge playoff game that the Giants will win. Justin, who is your Giant factor for this game?
My Giant factor. This is the last time that it would somewhat make sense to give him this Giant factor. Kenny Golladay. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get. He could get 2, he could get 10, he can get 20, or he can get 30. If you can do something, that would be fantastic. This would be the funniest game if he were to catch a touchdown pass. Man, some people's wet dream. Tyrod Taylor to Kenny Golladay last week of the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. Go out there and be a Giant factor, man, because you will have zero opportunity to do it any other time in a Giants uniform. That's even if the coaching staff even wants you out there in a meaningless game against the Eagles.
Yeah, you could very well see like Marcus Johnson getting this, like all the snaps. If he scores a touchdown, it probably will be the funniest touchdown in NFL history
with ease.
Like because you know, like the not the crowd because it's the Eagles, but like the sideline's gonna go like it's gonna be like the sideline is going
nuts?
To go
100%
nuts if he scores a touchdown.
Will they?
It was funny last night. For some reason I was on YouTube and Bobby's Kenny Golladay film breakdown the moment he signed popped up.
It shows
for
up
me.
all the time. I think it's because it's like our biggest one.
And it's just so funny just hearing the excitement in Bobby's voice. Everyone was excited at the sign of Kenny. Most people were.
I love the signing of Kenny Golladay.
And then here we are, year 2. What a time to be alive.
No touchdowns. Like it's
hilarious.
Kenny Golladay. Yeah, it's been weird. I'm interested to see if he even has a career after this. All right. Last spread picks that count versus this. So this is the it. Like the fantasy draft is not over. We'll do the playoff spread picks, but this is what the record is for who wins spread picks this year. But first, who is it brought to us by, Danny King?
Oh, I mean, for a very meaningful week of spread picks, they are brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Your first day legally being able to gamble.
I know. Don't even get me started on that. I am so excited to use this promo code, which I'll tell you in a minute, because DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is my go-to when betting on the NFL this postseason. Is it because of same game parlays? I don't know. I'm excited to use it. Fast and easy payouts. I'm excited for that as well. Player prop options. There's so much stuff allowed on the line this week. I don't know where to go with it. But right now, new customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Right now, everyone can earn up to a 100% boost with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. You go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, place a same-game parlay, and combine multiple bets like which team will win, player props, point totals, and more. The more legs you add, the bigger the boost, the bigger your shot to win big, and who doesn't love to win big? So, right now, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code WORLD, is WORLD, WORLD, place a $5 bet
versus the world. That's how you remember it. Talking Giants versus the world.
All you need to know, because you guys got to place a $5 bet on any NFL team to win their game and get $150 in free bets if they do. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code WORLD, WORLD. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Can you please see the show notes for details?
See the show notes for details. All right, spread picks. In last place, last year's champion, who was like a very deserving champion, Danny King at 60 and 69. He's went 3-4 last week. Nice.
I have a lot to play for this week. I want to beat the listeners.
You got to beat the listeners. Like we got to put the listeners in their place, right? They're 61 and 68 after a 4-3 week last week, and after myself and Justin both finishing 3-4 last week, we are at 63 and 65. So one, I just want to win this in general, like, right? But I honestly, more so than beating Justin, I just want to finish over 500 over the year. Because like, if you finish over 500 betting the spread, like you know ball, like that is if you can go bet 8 games a year against the spread, you know ball. If you can go over 500, they say 60% is sharp. So I'm very excited about this this week, so I'll be paying attention to it big time this week, Justin.
I will too.
Yeah, great. Electric. All right, we got this 2 Saturday games. Chiefs at Raiders plus 9.5. The listeners represented by CeeLo Goons. He's not a goblin. He's a Goons. Are going Chiefs minus 9.5. I'm also going Chiefs minus 9.5. It's the last game of the year. I'm sure that whole Raiders locker room hates Josh McDaniel. And the Chiefs are playing for the 1 seed? Question mark? I got the Chiefs minus 9.5. Justin, who do you got?
Danny, who do you got?
I think I'm trying to guarantee my $5 bet here turning into $150. So I think I'm gonna rock the Chiefs here. Rock that money line but I'll be taking the Chiefs points, but that's I think what I'll be rocking just to guarantee I get some money. As I say that, I probably will lose, but that's besides the point.
Justin.
Raiders have played in close games like every single game this season. They are not getting beaten by 9.5 points. They are covering. Patrick Graham has shut down Patrick Mahomes before people forget. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Raiders. They're going to cover this. Excuse me.
I just read the Raiders are actually 8-8 against the spread. The Chiefs are 5-11.
Raiders are going to cover this. They lost to the 49ers last week by 3.
True that.
They allowed 37 points. But,
they only lost by 3.
The other Saturday night game. The winner of the AFC South. This is going to be a great game. Titans at Jags minus 6. Who do you got in this one, Justin?
Jags minus 6.
Yeah, as much I wanted to go Titans because the Titans played, they didn't get totally blown out by the Cowboys last week. But the Jags beat the Titans with Ryan Tannehill pretty handedly. The Jags are just the better team. And I think week 18 is I just picked the team that's going to win to cover the spread. I'm not even bothering the spread except for maybe one pick this week. So I'm going to go Jags minus 6 as well. What about you, Danny?
I'm also going to go to Jags because the Titans have some dude named Josh Dobbs starting at quarterback.
Tennessee legend.
It'll be a little better this week than he was last week, but not enough to keep it close with the Jaguars, who are on, as the kids say, fire.
The listeners are going Titans plus 6, so Danny might be able to tie it going into Sunday. And then next game, Jets at Dolphins plus 1. The Dolphins are still playing for a chance at the playoffs. Who do you have in this one, Danny?
Who is starting for the Dolphins at quarterback? Is that I don't think we know that yet, right?
Do we don't? Does he
Thompson.
not know?
It's the Thompson dude. It's the Thompson dude.
Is it going to be Thompson?
Danny, do you know what happened in Miami the other day?
Well, yeah, Teddy Bridgewater broke his finger.
Do you know who's on the team? Does
Mike
he not
Glennon,
know?
dude, come on.
Oh my god! I remember reading that because Mike McDaniel said they signed him because of his name was Mike. Give me the Jets. I'm not rocking with that loser ever again. Give me the Jets.
Whoa, you're a backup QB guy.
Yeah,
I gave that man a chance, and he just absolutely made our lives miserable last year. I can't even support him.
His first start for the Giants was versus the Dolphins. I'm going to go Dolphins plus 1. I think the Jets are just they're checked out. Dolphins. I'm probably going to regret this, but I am going to go Dolphins plus 1. What about you, Justin?
Dolphins' big losing streak. Give me the Jets. They're going to win an irrelevant game.
And maybe
Keep
make
the spirits
playoffs.
high heading into next year.
Listeners are going Jets as well.
Maybe a playoff berth for the Jets, depending on what happens.
Yeah,
no, they're eliminated. The Jets are eliminated.
Well, no. I mean, if the scenario happens where another team gets added, they might be
an 8th seed.
There might be uneliminated.
We'll see. Figure it out. Browns at Steelers minus 2.5. The Steelers' record is 8-8. So this is the easiest pick of the week for me. I am going Steelers minus 2.5. The Mike Tomlin streak does not end. It does not end. Justin, do you agree that it does not end?
Yeah, I agree. The Browns are just bad. They might have a quarterback problem.
Dude, wouldn't that be the funniest thing ever? It's they did all that, went through all that fire for it, and it's Watson just sucks now.
I would. Oh, that I could cry tears.
Danny, who do you got?
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go with Bobby's logic here. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin just is allergic to under 500, and I think that continues this week.
Yep, and the listeners agree. Clean sweep for the Steelers. Patriots at Bills minus 6.5. Usually this is easy. The Bills just lately have just blown out the Patriots unless there's that horrible snow game. Obviously, there's other circumstances, but I'm still going to go Bills. The Patriots' offense is too stinky. I'm going Bills -6.5. They're going to do it for Hamlin. What about you, Danny? Are you circling the wagons?
Yeah, I have to circle the wagons because the game's in Buffalo after everything that happened, how the energy of the crowd. I mean, it's just the Bills are going to win, and I think they're going to win big because like you said, Patriots are kind of mediocre, even though the Bills are not the best against the spread.
Listeners are going Bills. Justin, are you going against a good story?
I'm going against a good story.
Oh, Jesus.
There we go. There we go. I thought about it too. I really did. Ravens at Bengals -7. The Ravens are playing to keep their playoff spot. But Lamar, is Lamar just done with the Ravens? Supposedly he's not rehabbing with them. I've heard weird rumors out of there. I'm going Bengals -7. Even though they're probably a little distracted after the Hamlin stuff too, but not as much. But I'm gonna go Bengals -7. What about you, Danny?
Isn't this game technically for the AFC North? I don't know how that's working out.
I think it is.
It might be for the AFC
Well,
North.
The Ravens' record's not that good.
No, the Ravens lost, so they needed to win last week to
It was
stay in
something with
contention.
last week. It was weird.
Dude, it's so shitty. Danny, I'm sorry. It's so shitty that the Ravens were my Super Bowl pick, partially because they had such an easy second half schedule, and they already beat the Bengals earlier in the year. So really, this Bengals game with Lamar, if this was with Lamar Jackson in the lineup, this would be the only second half game that's difficult for the Ravens. They would have won every other game. They just would have needed to win this game, and then they could have had the number 1 seed in the AFC, but Lamar got hurt. Danny, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, Lamar Jackson not being there is just detrimental to this team. I don't know whether it's Snoop Huntley or whatever the heck his name is these days, and or whoever's backing up Tyler Huntley. I just don't know how the Ravens could win. So give me the Bengals.
They could cover though. Justin, so who are you going? Is your Super Bowl favorite going into the playoffs?
Ravens cover.
There we go.
If I'm gonna lose, I'm losing in a blaze of glory this week.
The listeners agree with you. That's not even a tough pick. That's not a wild pick. Cowboys at Commanders +7. Who do you have in this one, Justin?
Cowboys.
You
Sam
believe in
Howell
the
at QB.
Cowboys. Sam Howell. I that's the only reason I hate that this game's at the same time as the Giants. I wanted to see Sam Howell play. Danny, who do you got?
Yeah, Justin said the reason Sam Howell's a good QB for the Commanders, so Cowboys -7.
Listeners agree. I don't. I'm going Commanders +7. It's the Cowboys. It's the end of the season. This is going to be a 3-point game that the Cowboys are going to win. And then for a playoff spot, I'm really hoping the Seahawks lose so that this is for a win and in. I'm not actually. You know what? I don't want Geno Smith going to the playoffs. I still irrationally don't like you. Lions at Packers -4.5. Who do you have in this one, Danny?
This is gonna be so excited. The Packers are 8-8, and they're also 8-8 against the spread. The Lions are also 8-8, but they're 11-5 against the spread. Whether the Seahawks lose or win, Detroit, I think, is gonna come out there and give it their all against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're getting hot at the right time. Dan Campbell's coming for them kneecaps. Give me the Lions +4.5.
Justin.
Is this a primetime game?
Yes, Sunday Night Football.
It's going to be close. Give me the Lions to cover.
I got the Packers -4.5. The listeners also have the Packers -4.5. So for me and Justin, I just want to do quick. What picks do we have difference? I've got Chiefs. You got Raiders. I got Dolphins. You got Jets. I got Bills. You got Patriots. I got Bengals. You got me and you disagree on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 8 games. Now, what usually happens is we'll go 3-3 in those games. But we'll see. But if we tie, I would rather when people said with the Commanders they'd rather lose than tie, that's not true. But this I would rather lose than tie. I don't want to tie.
No, I agree. That's why I wanted to get. I was hoping that we would pick a lot of different games because I wanna have a clear winner and a clear loser.
Why don't we, how about this, Justin? Off air, we will pick the rest of the games. I'll send it to you. We'll pick them. And that will be the tiebreaker who finishes the better record in those games.
I like that. We will do that.
Okay, so I will send that to you off air.
I'm guaranteeing to win a week for me this week. Guaranteeing it.
All right. Danny King. What is your score prediction versus Giants Eagles?
Like, I feel bad for like saying the Giants are gonna lose because I just think they will. Like, at the end of the day, the Eagles are like, they're not as good as they were when we first played them, but like the Giants should probably be benching a lot of people. I think the Giants will lose. I don't want to say as close of a game as much of a blowout as last time. I'm gonna say the Eagles will hit 30. I'm gonna believe in Tyrod to get the Giants to 17 points this week. I believe in Tyrod Taylor to get that ability. As much as I hate picking against him against the Eagles, I just don't see the Giants risking everything for when they have a realistic shot in the playoffs.
Justin, what is your prediction for the final regular season game of the season?
I want to see the DraftKings line. The DraftKings line has Eagles minus 14. 27-17 Eagles win. Giants cover.
Well, boys, it's been a fun regular season. Listeners, we truly love you. We truly love you. But guess what? We've got one more game to win. But there's some people who have been listening for a long time. They're like, Bobby, there's something that you usually do once a year, right? Usually you're miserable. Well, guess what? I'm doing it because I'm happy, and we're resting our starters. You're like, is Bobby about to predict a loss? Hell no, I ain't. But the Giants are going to win 2-0 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. We will see you on Monday, recapping the game and getting you ready for the playoffs. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you then. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the final regular season game of the year. Until then, let's go Big Blue.